Have you ever stopped to calculate the actual price of being liked? I'm not talking about the money you spend, but the emotional, psychological, and temporal debt you accumulate every single day. This is the validation debt, the constant, exhausting expenditure of energy you pay off by performing for others, censoring your truth, and sacrificing your boundaries, all to secure a fragile, fleeting hit of approval. You say yes when your body screams no. You laugh at a joke that was slightly insulting. You check your phone obsessively for a message from someone who barely respects your time. And here is the psychological truth I need you to grasp. The harder you try to be liked, the more you are teaching the world to disrespect you. Why? Because respect is not a trophy given to the nicest person in the room. Respect is the instinctive understanding that violating your boundaries comes with a cost. And if you're always chasing validation, your boundaries are not just flexible, they are invisible. The most powerful, respected people you know, the ones who command silence when they speak, do not live for external praise. They operate from a place of unshakable internal consistency. And they understand a powerful, dark secret about human nature that was first observed by Niccolò Machiavelli over 500 years ago. This video is not about being cruel or cold. It's about being whole and unbreakable. By the end, you will understand the neurobiology of your people-pleasing addiction, how to reframe Machiavelli's principle for modern life, and the 4 non-negotiable laws for activating an internal power that demands, rather than begs for, respect. Are you ready to stop being everyone's favorite backup plan and start becoming your own non-negotiable priority? To understand why you chase approval, we must go to the source, your brain chemistry. You are not fundamentally flawed. You're simply caught in a neurochemical loop. Every time you get a like, a nod, a compliment, or compliant behavior from a person you're trying to impress, your brain releases a small surge of dopamine. Dopamine, often misunderstood as the pleasure chemical, is actually the motivation chemical. It's the seeking drug. That small hit of dopamine doesn't necessarily make you feel great. It makes you seek the source of the reward again. This creates a social validation circuit in the brain, a feedback loop identical to the one that drives digital addiction or substance abuse. Your brain learns to prioritize the external, variable reward, getting a text, a smile, a yes from others, over your internal, consistent stability, your true feelings, your energy level, your own goals. This addiction is precisely why approval seekers are so fragile. They live with an external locus of control. Their self-worth is literally outsourced, contingent on the unpredictable, shifting opinions of the collective. If the collective approves, they are up. If the collective disapproves, they crash. This is not power. This is perpetual psychological slavery. The respectable person operates from an internal locus of control. Their mood, their trajectory, and their sense of self are determined by their own adherence to their values. They are emotionally independent. The people pleaser is constantly asking, what do they need me to be? The respectable person only asks, what do I need to be right now? To gain true respect, you must starve the external validation circuit and begin feeding the internal integrity circuit. This is the first, most uncomfortable step. Accepting that your exhausting need to be liked is an addiction that is actively making you weak. Machiavelli's famous statement, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both," is one of the most misunderstood maxims in history. It is often interpreted as a call for cruelty, but for the psychologically minded, it is a profound insight into consequence and human reliability. In the modern context, fear is not terror. It is the absolute certainty of consequence. When Machiavelli says a prince should be feared, he means the prince should be predictable in their enforcement of rules. Subjects don't obey out of affection. They obey because they know, with 100% certainty, that crossing the line will lead to a proportional, non-emotional response. Love is fickle. It vanishes when things get difficult. Certainty of consequence endures because it is based on logic, not emotion. The ultimate opposite of respect is contempt. Contempt is when people view you as so weak, so inconsistent, or so easily manipulated that they believe they could take advantage of you without any repercussions. Contempt is what people-pleasing earns you. The Machiavellian secret to respect. The respectable person creates a world where their boundaries are the law. People don't fear them. They fear the inevitable violation of their own self-interest that will follow if they disrespect the boundary. When you are late for a highly respected person, they don't yell. They might end the meeting early, teaching you that their time is finite. When you betray the respected person, they don't scream for revenge. They silently and permanently withdraw access, teaching you that their trust is irreplaceable. This is the power of integrity. The individual is whole, undivided, and internally consistent. Their word is their bond, and their boundaries are non-negotiable. They're powerful because you know exactly where the line is, and you know they will enforce it every time. They don't have to explain or justify their laws. They simply are the law of their own life. To command this power, you must adopt these 4 principles. Creating an internal and external standard that communicates your worth is non-negotiable. Law 1. The principle of deliberate scarcity. Most people believe constant availability equals value. They confuse being present with being omnipresent. They answer every text instantly, agree to every last-minute favor, and are always the one putting in the effort. This is the surest way to become background noise. The shift: do not be unavailable. Be deliberate in your availability. Your time, your focus, and your energy are premium resources. When you treat them as scarce, others will too. This is the psychological principle of cognitive dissonance. The more effort a person has to expend to gain access to you or your time, the more highly they value the time and access they receive. Law 2. The principle of emotional independence, the silent consequence. When you are attacked, insulted, or provoked, the people pleaser instantly becomes defensive, angry, or emotional. This is the aggressor's goal, to prove they can control your inner state. The shift: your greatest weapon against disrespect is your non-reaction. When a boundary is tested, you should not reward the aggressor with your attention or your emotional response. Meet the offense with cool, quiet decisiveness. Do not yell, do not explain, and do not beg. Simply enforce the consequence immediately. The silence that follows a clear, powerful action is more terrifying than any yelling, because it communicates, "I do not need to argue with you. You have already failed the test, and you are now out." This emotional independence proves that your power lies entirely within yourself, inaccessible to their manipulation. Law 3. The principle of no justification, the self-reference no. People pleasers justify their no because they are afraid of the other person's rejection. They explain their decision in detail, hoping to be validated for their choice. But when you explain your no, you are inviting debate, and you're giving the other person the power to argue you back into a yes. The shift: your no is a complete sentence. You are never obligated to justify a decision to someone who only benefits when you betray yourself. The power of a self-referenced no is that it is final and impenetrable. It relies on your own values, not their opinions. Example: instead of, "I can't come because I have too much work and I'm tired and I feel bad about it," use a self-reference phrase, "That doesn't align with my schedule right now," or "I've decided I need to dedicate that time to something else." In the statement there, the lack of explanation communicates absolute conviction. Law 4. The principle of value-based prioritization. People pleasers try to prioritize other people's feelings over their own core values. They do this because they fear the momentary discomfort of saying no. The shift: you must place your personal values, health, time, goals, integrity, above the temporary comfort of others. The respectable person is not cold. They are selective. They know that to be truly valuable to the world, they must first be valuable to themselves. When you operate from a clear set of self-reference values, your priorities become clear, and your time is invested only in actions and people who align with your purpose. This makes your time and attention a rare gift, not a free commodity. Your value is determined not by what you give away, but by what you refuse to compromise. The journey from approval addict to commanding respect is not easy. It involves a detox from that addictive dopamine rush of external validation. It means that the people who only liked the easy version of you, the version who never pushed back, will likely fall away. This is not a loss. It is a necessary purging that creates space for genuine, mutual respect. The ultimate payoff is psychological freedom. When you stop performing for the audience, you reclaim all the emotional and mental energy you spent paying off that validation debt. You become internally whole, a person of integrity whose boundaries are the law of their own life. You are no longer living on contingent approval. You are living on non-negotiable self-worth. Machiavelli's true final message is an invitation to maturity. You control what you do. You do not control how others feel. A wise person builds their house on the rock of their own actions and integrity, not on the shifting sands of public opinion. Are you ready to stop being the puppet and start being the puppeteer of your own life? Are you ready to trade the exhausting pursuit of being liked for the silent, unshakable power of being respected? The decision to end the performance is the single most powerful act of self-respect you can commit. Start today. Start with the next text, the next request, the next time someone tries to test your boundaries. If this video helped you understand the psychological cost of chasing approval, smash that like button. If you're ready to implement these 4 laws, drop the final affirmation below. I command respect. The world doesn't need another people pleaser. It needs a person of unshakable integrity. Be that person.